let's go over the Evo run. I'll talk a little bit about my sets at that tournament. All right, so I'm gonna start from day two. Pools, first round, most top players. It's not too much of a problem. A lot of new people, which is always amazing. So keep supporting tournaments if you can and if you want to. But day two, I don't really remember too much from my first set, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it was a Sheik player, and Sheik is always a good matchup for me. But after that, I played against DJ. Not really too much to say about the set. Not the cleanest, really, from either one of us. But I beat him 2-1 pretty convincingly. But yeah, after DJ, my bracket was gonna start becoming much harder. I was gonna play against MacD. Peach Dittos is a matchup I traditionally have not really liked. I wouldn't say I'm horrible at the matchup any longer, but it's clearly among my weakest. Arguably my weakest matchup in terms of knowledge of like the top 10-ish characters. So I knew that match would be very tough for me. I beat MacD very convincingly at Canada Cup, but that was a while ago. This was 2 out of 3. I hadn't really played the matchup for a long time as well. And the same thing here. I feel like also it was not very clean gameplay from me. Maybe the Evo factor got to my head a little bit. I'm not sure. But it's a very, very close set. I remember game 1, I clutched it like last stock, high percent. And game 2 is also like extremely similar. It's a really close game, but MacD clutches it. Also pretty much like a last hit scenario. And we play FD both the first games, if I recall correctly. And then I decided to go to Dreamland. I felt like a big stage, more game time, more time to figure more things out. So I decided to go Dreamland. I started off really, really strong on game 3. I pretty much rack him up to like 90 or 100% before I even get hit once. And once that happened, I start to play a bit more calm, a little bit more confident, and it was kind of destruction, to be honest, in game 3. I think I won by 3 stock, 3 stock high percent, something like that. And that was it was a relief. You never want to go to losers bracket that early, especially Evo, since it's 2 out of 3 all the way to loser finals. If you end up in losers, so I played MacD. I got something small to eat, having a little bit of a break. Then I was warming up a little bit with Gatsu and later on Wizrobe as well. I was gonna play against S2J, a pretty hyped rematch from Genesis. So as a lot of you guys probably noticed already, like the bracket is not that good for me personally. I got like a lot of personal rough matchups for me. But I know that S2J or none most likely gonna win that pool, and eventually S2J does. So I have the Falcon practice ready. Overall, like it's a little bit better set for my part than my set against MacD. I started off game 1 pretty strong, but the thing is that what happens in that match is, if I recall correctly, is a little bit similar to a Genesis. Game 1 and even game 2, I start off strong against S2J and he climbs back and clutches game 1 and 2. This time around, even though S2J turns it up the second half of the game, it's still a little bit too late. And I won game 1. I banned Stadium because I feel like that's the stage he would want to pick. And since he took a lot of time to decide his stage after I banned Stadium, I feel like I probably made the right call. It's also the stage he counterpicked in game 4 at Genesis. So that's part of the reason I banned it as well, since it was like his to-go stage at Genesis. And I don't know, game 2 is very weird. It's very sloppy gameplay. Johnny takes 2 SDs. There's some rando bullshit going on. Chai Guy's blocking my turnip. So maybe not it probably didn't live up to the expectations for a lot of people. Not only because I won and they wanted to see me lose, but I feel like Evo overall it's a different environment, different mentality. It's hard to perform your best at Evo for a lot of people. But I beat S2J 2-0, so that feels pretty good. After that, I already start to try to find a new Falcon and a Pikachu because I'm gonna play the winner of Wizrobe and Axe. I had played a bit against Wizrobe before the S2J set, so I felt pretty good about that. And Wizrobe also came over to our housing space in Vegas, and we played some matches, and I was doing pretty good for the most part. Probably won about 60-40, but friendlies and tournaments always very, very different. So I knew it was going to be a hard match regardless. Axe is one of the few players actually that before this set, no, he's the only player that 3 times before Evo had brought me to the last game in 3 different sets. He did it at Apex 2010, he did it at Eclipse in Norway, and he also did it at Evo 2014. So I knew another really bad pick for me. The entire bracket at this point feels like really, really rough matchups for me personally. I feel like I could have gotten much easier opponents for me, like relative to what I prefer to fight against, like characters, playstyles, and all of that. So I knew like if I managed to stay in winners up to top 8, then I should go in with like a lot of confidence. But yeah, I play against Axe, and it's a pretty close game overall, but Axe kind of similar to S2J. He's a bit behind, but climbed his way back in, and actually clutches game 1. I barely misses. I'm missing one of my edge guards. I get hit by the up B, and then I get sort of stage spiked by his Nair. So I'm down 1-0. I'm like, all right, fuck this. Always at Evo. I'm one game away from losing. But game 2, I played pretty good. Win by like 2 stock, high percent. And then I banned Stadium here again. He went Stadium at Eclipse, if I remember correctly. And it's also like early kills and stuff, so I don't really want to deal with that too much, like wide stage and low ceiling. And he ends up going Battlefield. And it's a very close game overall. I think I got a Stitch there at some point with 1 hit, so that's pretty good for me as well. But it never gets like super, super close in the end. Win by 2 stock, high percent. And after that, I have a pretty long break before I'm going to play Mewtwo King. And I wasn't really sure what to feel about that one, because I haven't played Peach Marth in a long time. I get to play a little bit with Moon and Smash God. And I actually do pretty good against Smash God in our matches. So that was a little bit of a confident boost probably, since he's extremely good in the matchup. And I got some advice as well. But Mewtwo King is always scary. Like at GGC we traded sets. At Genesis I won a game 5. Game 4 was also like last hit, so I easily could have lost that 3-1. The one good thing though for me with best of 3 against Mewtwo King is no FD. I feel like that's the strongest stage any one of us have in the matchup. So even though I dislike best of 3, I feel like Mewtwo King suffers a lot from the rule set at Evo. If he plays against Mango and Leffen, they can use ban FD, I can ban FD. So even though 2 out of 3 might be good for him since he has a losing record against some of the top 6 members, so less matches means that he might be able to win a little bit more often in terms of sets. The lack of FD is crucial for Mewtwo King. He still won on his counterpick stage against me, to be fair. But yeah, I managed to beat him 2-1, really, really close again. Every match is actually last stock. Sick turnip edge card at the end. So yeah, no, it was a good set. Probably the best set in Top 8 at Evo. And that's at least what I've heard from a lot of people. And it was a very competitive set. That's what people always want to see. After that, I move on, fighting Mango in Winners Finals. Not really the best set either. I know I've said this about a lot of sets, but I feel like that's a kind of consistent theme for Melee at Evo. I feel like every Evo, pretty much it's a lot of sets that left a lot to wish for. Every Evo, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, I feel like it's like two players plays like pretty much really good, one person plays kind of standard, and then 4 or 5 players underperform. And even though that happens at other top 8s as well, I would say it's more often happening at Evo. Probably partly because of the rule sets, less setups to warm up. But yeah, I played Mango, beat him 3-0, which feels very good because I lost to him in 2 very close sets as Royal Flush. So I wanted to have a revenge for him, or against him. Like, I wanted to fight HBox for some reasons. I wanted to have a revenge from Evo 2016. But I also wanted to fight Mango since we haven't played since Evo 2013. And I wasn't even really playing Melee at the time. So for me personally, I feel like we have never played a real set at Evo. I know some people will disagree with that, and I understand why. But for me personally, since I hadn't really played for 6 months, it was very different for me playing that set at Evo 2013. So it felt good beating him 3-0. And then Grand Finals, either Mango or HBox. So regardless, I was going to have to fight one of the 2 people I really wanted to beat. So for me, it was good regardless, to be honest. Maybe not good on paper, but I wanted to beat one of them in Grand Finals at Evo. And Mango wins pretty close, 3-2 set against HBox. And Grand Finals is much more competitive than Winners Finals. Mango's ledge dashes are also way more on point than Grant's. And game 3 that I beat him on FD is also like much more close than a lot of the matches in Winners. So felt good. And then once we went to game 4, I felt so confident. I knew that I have what it takes to win Evo, and even though we're not really thinking about it in the moment, I wasn't scared or afraid of the fact that I lost the year prior. It was like I had experienced it once, and now I felt confident to come back for my trophy. Like, as I told my stream earlier, I said as a joke that the Evo 2015 trophy, he wanted a brother. So I told him before leaving that I'm going to bring the Evo 2017 trophy back for you, brother. So now they're both together, living happy, in peace, here in my apartment. So overall, it was a fun tournament. I really want to take a second Evo. I feel like me and Mango, we have always compared ourselves to each other a bit as well. Like, we both have our own legacies and tournament wins and losses and all of that, but I feel like we always have and always will compare ourselves to each other a bit at least. So since he had 2 Evo wins, I wanted to tie it up. I didn't want to go down 3-1, so felt good to tie it up, especially after last year being such a heartbreaking loss. But yeah, that's pretty much my Evo experience.